Welcome back everybody, it is me, your favourite average runner, back with another review, and this time we're looking at the Altra Experience Flow 3. It's got a new style, but is it a banger shoe? Let's find out. So before I start, full disclosure, I was sent this shoe by Altra as part of a race that I did, the Brighton Half Marathon, and they won't get to look at my views or my opinions before this goes out. So this is a completely honest and transparent review of the Altra Experience Flow 3. So first things first, the stats. A lot of people care about them, so let's just run through it. They've got a 32mm stack at the heel and 28mm at the forefoot, leading into a 4mm drop, which, if you know Altra, is away from what they usually do, as they are traditionally a zero drop shoe. So this shows their intent with trying to bring this shoe forward. This shoe is really aimed at those daily miles, those easier runs, and really the objective is supreme comfort and all day wear. Zero drop shoes can often feel quite flat because people are used to tipping forwards and getting propelled. It's a different style of running, but we'll find out in some of my likes and some of my dislikes. So my first like, and straight off the bat, this shoe is supremely comfortable. I wore it for a couple of runs before the half marathon and then the half marathon itself, which included running down from the hotel, getting warmed up, doing the half marathon, and then walking another 3 kilometers back to the car. And I did it all in this shoe whilst it was soaking wet. The conditions were abhorrent, and this shoe was so comfortable. Your toes have a nice wide area to spread out in, no blisters at all. Even though my foot was soaking wet, absolutely no rubbing, not even a sign of it. So these are supremely comfortable, and I think that that is one of the best things about Altras in general, is their comfortability and their kind of all-day wear. It is so overlooked. People like to put themselves in pain when wearing running shoes sometimes. Something like this, where your foot has room to breathe, is very underrated, and I really enjoyed just wearing them around. I think from the comfortability point of view, they're probably the most comfortable running shoe that I have worn on the roads. My second like is they've really updated the look of these shoes, and it doesn't really look like Altra. And that, in some ways, is a compliment. Some people will live and die by their association with Altra, and the Lone Peak series, one of their trail shoes and their most popular shoe ever, it's really good for what it is, but you will have diehard fans who love that shoe. It's really nice to see them moving in a slightly different direction and making shoes that look more traditional. A lot of their shoes, quite often, I compare them to looking kind of like flippers because they're so wide in the toe box because we're so used to seeing these narrow cut-in shapes. But this looks a lot more traditional, and honestly, it is the best looking shoe that I've seen them release so far. So from an aesthetic point of view, they've absolutely smashed it. I really like the look of this shoe. It makes me want to go out and run in it, which is a big testament to it, because there are a lot of their shoes that just look a bit different and people wouldn't necessarily want to do that. And my third like is you just forget that they're on your feet because they're so comfortable and they're so lightweight. You really just feel like you are flowing through, which, you know, goes by the name Experience Flow. They just disappear, and that is one of the biggest compliments that I can give to running shoes, especially those that you plan to use for your daily running miles. You don't really want to be thinking about it, whether that's something that creates lots of noise and makes you remember that it's there, or something that just feels bulky and heavy. These are very understated, and you feel like you're just plodding along comfortably. There's absolutely nothing making you remember that they're there, other than the fact that you haven't got any blisters, which honestly is a massive compliment. So well done, Altra. Really good from that point of view. And now onto the dislikes. There are a couple of things about this shoe that aren't right up my street, but I'm just going to let you know my thoughts on those. So first dislike, they don't have that bounce back that a lot of road shoes do, and especially in the daily running category now, we're starting to get some shoes that really give a lot back from the foam. These are a little bit more flat. Now, whether that's just to do with the midsole foam or whether it's a combination of that and the 4mm drop versus a more traditional 6 to 8mm drop, possibly there's something there, but they just don't have that responsiveness that you'd be expecting for a daily shoe, or maybe hoping for in a daily shoe at this point. And the use case for this shoe really isn't to pick up the pace. They are meant for your easy daily miles and all-day comfort. So it is not a slight on Altra in any way. They're not aiming to try and have them be fast. You're not going to do your speed reps or your threshold efforts in these shoes. But having said that, I did the half marathon yesterday and I held about 4:45 pace, which was my third fastest half marathon ever. And I didn't notice that they were slowing me down in any sort of way. I just didn't feel like they gave me that extra little bit that you might get from a super foam or from a carbon plate. But again, it's actually quite a small dislike in the grand scheme of things because it wasn't their objective and it's not what they're designed for. And my second dislike, this is something that if you have tried zero drop shoes before, you might be familiar with. the adjustment process. Zero drop shoes are meant to make you run more traditionally, and that just puts more pressure on your calves. So I did notice by the end of the half marathon that my calves were just starting to get a little bit tired. And I will say that is a massive improvement. I've owned a pair of Altras before, the Lone Peak 8s, and I could run about 14K in those before my calves were really, really sore. I think having a 4mm drop in these makes a massive difference to that, whereas the ones I was running in before had a 0mm, literally a flat shoe. And it just does put a lot of extra strain on your calf. So if you're not adjusted to that or prepared for that, it can be quite difficult to get used to and to get up to higher mileage. So I would say probably wouldn't be bringing this one up to the marathon distance, but for anything up to half marathon, I think that pretty much anyone can pick it up and get involved. I would just make sure that you put some time in to get used to that smaller drop. So overall, I think this shoe is absolutely brilliant for what it's intended for. Easy daily miles that keep you comfortable all day, and you don't actually have to change out of it. You could wear it as a lifestyle shoe. You'd be absolutely fine doing that. And it looks great. It feels great. Disappears on your foot. Yeah, okay, it's not the fastest shoe in the world, but that is not the intention of this shoe, and they haven't been trying to sell it as that. The intention of this is supreme comfort, and I think that they have done that in abundance. So I'm really, really impressed with what Altra have put out here, and I'm really excited to see what else they have to offer. This shoe was released at the same time as the Experience Wild 3, which is their trail version of this shoe, which I think has some slight differences, but I'm really keen. So I'm hoping to get my hands on that soon so I can do a bit of a comparison, as I obviously love trail running as well. And it will be really interesting to see if that translates, because I think that this as a trail version would be incredibly interesting because you don't need that speed so much, and what you do want is that comfort. And I think this could be a very, very good trail shoe. So stay tuned and subscribe if you are excited to see the trail review. But for now, that's been me, your average runner. I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know down in the comments if you've tried this shoe and what you think. But until next time, I'm out.